final time for Postgame this season. Appreciate everybody hopping on. Kobe, Tony, Wilson. Tony will fire away.
Yeah, Carlos, with this being the final game, what was your message to the team in the locker room after the final buzzer?
After the final buzzer, just how much I appreciate their effort, finishing strong each and every game. I wanted to make sure that they understood our love for them as a coaching staff, and just tried to provide all the inspiration that I can for the off season coming up, making sure that they understand that they have to get better as professional athletes. But a great experience.
What did you learn about yourself, if anything, coaching this team this season?
To be honest, it was several lessons that I came across. The first one is, when you have a younger team, and you have to understand that you have to meet them where they are. They're fresh out of college, players that have not really learned the WNBA game yet, but I think we made major strides. So I learned a lot about myself and just going back to the basics and trying to teach at that level to make sure that they understood what it took to compete in the WNBA.
What will this offseason look like for you in terms of teaching skills, working with players on getting better and prepared for next season?
Oh well, we have a slew of things that we want to do, especially with such a young, vibrant group. We want to make sure that we're heavy in the player development department, as well as film. Just putting together some great off-season workouts for our players, tracking them, the ones that's going overseas, and we want to make sure that we are in communication, constant communication with them, just to make sure that they're doing what they need to do to become better players.
And in today's game specifically, rough defensive first quarter, everything improved as the game went on. What were your overall thoughts on the way that you guys played in this one?
I thought we finished pretty good. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, we may have outscored them in the second half, but I think the second quarter really hurt us. But overall, I felt, again, like I told them, I felt proud of the way they hung in there and finished against a very, very good Washington team. I mean, Washington has veterans and they're very well coached, and I thought they stood in and they really they focused and they competed at times. So again, when you're dealing with a team that is tough as Washington, you have to do a lot of things right to make sure that you get the win, and they executed at a high level.
Zion.
Yeah, Carlos, speaking of Washington, you've seen them 4 times now. Obviously, this weekend you got to see it twice in a row. What do you think makes this team so special as they kind of head in to their playoff contention chances?
I think it's their ability to pick up the pace when it's time, and that's both on offensively and defensively on both sides of the ball. They have, again, veteran leadership, and they are very, very in tune with each other. So when a situation comes up and it's time to, increase the intensity in that particular moment, then I think they do an excellent job. I think they run their sets to a T. I mean, they know exactly who they're going to. They know what it feels like when, Deladon or Atkins may have the ball on an island. They do a great job of playing off of each other, and that's beautiful.
Deladon had 19 or more in all 4 of those games you guys played against them this season. Why do you think he just time after time was able to be effective against Indiana?
She's a tough match, especially at the 4 position. Again, a lot of experience. She does so many different things without the ball. She moves well. She gets great post position. And then her fade, either way, left or right, is just so spectacular. So you have to be able to guard her without fouling her, and it's difficult because she has such a lengthy jump shot, high release, and it's tough to get to it. So I think she was very successful with us because of her length.
You talked about kind of what the broader offseason will look like for you guys, but what are the next few days going to be like? What's the plan for that?
Well, we haven't really said too much. I mean, we're going to go back home. Everybody get rested up. We'll talk to each individual within the next few days just about what that off season will look like, and just the future of our organization, our franchise. Nothing spectacular, but we want to make sure that they get everything that they need before they take off, as well as just kind of get a feel for what overseas or staying here.
Wilson.
Carlos, this tied the record for most losses in a WNBA season. Obviously, it's a developmental year, but just as a competitor, is that tough to swallow?
That's very tough to swallow for me. I just have to keep telling myself exactly what this year was about. From a developmental standpoint, we wanted to make sure that we improved in a lot of different areas, and we actually did. We improved in a lot of areas. But for the most part, yes, that's disturbing to me, especially who I am and what my resume represents. But at the same time, you look at your team, you understand your team, and you see exactly what it is that you need. And I felt like the organization done a great job of putting me in place to just bring that type of experience to the situation. Like, now we're experienced with this particular team. Now we can see what we need to do to move forward.
And then just basketball aside, you got any plans for the off season? Anything you're looking forward to?
Not yet. I think I'm gonna have to sleep on that. But for right now, again, my focus is just to make sure that we get back safely and kind of talk to each individual player. But stay tuned. That could be something.
We got questions in the room. We'll go to Chris here.
Yeah, hey Carlos.
Yes.
When you are going through a streak like that and the results are staying the same way, how do you keep that team lighthearted? Because I mean, it's pretty clear that they did, the effort is there. So, how do you do that?
That's like waving a magic wand. It really is. But no, that's why I give kudos to my staff as well as my players, because they look forward every day to coming in the gym and working. And it is definitely disheartening when you lose like that, and especially from all of the younger ones that has come from winning programs. But they were able to keep their spirits up because I never let mine down, ever. I'm coming in, we're vibrant every single day in practice. We're making sure that it's competitive. Obviously, like anything else, some days are lax. Some days, we take a dip down low. But for the most part, we're able to bring them back and get them in a space where they feel and they understand exactly what we're doing and what we're trying to get done.
Man, with that youth and so many rookies, what is the biggest challenge in your mind? Is it the mental side of it and just the information intake that comes at the pro level, or just the physicality?
I think it's
both.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think it's kind of both, but the mental part is really where it comes in, and you have to be able to understand and learn and get experience mentally, because you have great players on this level that are going to be actually focusing and really coming at you mentally when they understand where you are. So it's very important that you get yourself together as a professional mentally. That's very important.
Recording in progress.
Questions for Lexie? Career high for assists. Another double-figure scoring game. Tony, you want to start?
Yeah, Lexie, you've been basically playing since the start of the Stanford season. What is the offseason going to look like for you, and what are you hoping to focus on with some time off finally?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm just really excited for the chance to really work on my game. As of right now, I plan on just training and staying in the U.S. I'm not exactly sure where, but just really looking to get stronger, get better, and get ready for next season.
What did Carlos tell you guys after this game, both about the game you just played and about the offseason ahead for you guys?
Our coaches kind of just said, don't let anybody pass you, work hard, and come back better. And I think that's going to be all of our focus, and that was our focus throughout the season, is just to continue improving, continue working on the things we need to work on. So that was kind of their message to us, just come back stronger, come back better next year.
You had 4 assists, like Ryan just said today, a couple big games in Dallas and Atlanta. What helped you close the season so strong, and how will that sort of knowledge and growth help you next year?
I think it just comes with experience and time out on the court. And I'm just really lucky and feel really lucky for the opportunity to have time and get more comfortable out there. Really just kind of have the game come to me, and that really just comes with playing more games.
I know you've been asked this question a lot this year, but with 7 rookies on the same team, how will that help you guys into next year now that you have a full year of experience playing with all of them?
Yeah, I think that's going to really help us moving forward. A lot of us, more than half the team came in not knowing what to expect, and now we can kind of come in next year with a year under our belt and know what the game's like, what to expect from the season, what to expect from our coaches, and the program itself. So I think I'm really excited for next year and just to see what we can do moving forward.
Wilson.
Lexie, your rookie season ended about 20 minutes ago. Just how are you feeling, and was it what you were expecting?
I would say it's a little bittersweet. I think we definitely wanted a better outcome with the season. We wanted to come to this point with a better record. But I think we're excited for the potential that we have, and we've seen it in spurts and in plays and in moments in games, our potential. And so I think we're just really excited. It's sad that we're all kind of going to different places, but we know that come spring training camp next year that we'll be ready to go.
Chris, anything for Lexie?
Yeah, what was something that you maybe assumed about WNBA life? Could be anything that, kind of got flipped on its head when you actually experienced it.
I think it's, being in the basketball world, you expect everyone knows about the WNBA, and you expect that people are paying attention. And I think we still have we have a lot of room to grow, and just awareness from outside people. We travel in the airport and people are still asking us what college we play for. So I think that's kind of surprising to us, is people don't know who the teams are in the WNBA, and I think it's exciting that there's a lot of potential for that to grow and awareness of the W to grow.
Best dressed vet here.
Bet.
Zion, go ahead.
Emma, for you, this last stretch was really one of your better stretches of the year, and really this year has been one of your best scoring seasons of your career. What did you feel like led to this last couple of weeks, even about a month that you've had?
First and foremost, I just want to say free BG. I miss my best friend, and I'm ready for her to come home. So I just want to let everybody know that we're still thinking about you, BG, and I feel like this should be still top priority. To answer your question, I don't know. It just kind of I've been given the opportunity to do some stuff, and I was put in some position to score and help lead my team down stretches. So you take advantage of every opportunity that's given to you. So yeah, it's been a great run.
Looking at this Washington team as they head into the playoffs, what do you see as some of their biggest strengths and why they've been able to beat you guys a few times this year?
They have Deladon. She's playing well. Atkins as well. She's playing great. So, and then they have a strong core around them, like a couple of vets and stuff within with Elizabeth Williams, Alicia. So, they're strong on the outside, and I feel like they have some power behind them, and they've been playing well down at the end of the stretch. So good luck to those guys.
Now that it's over, I know it hasn't been over long, but now that it's over, what's your kind of biggest takeaways you've had from being around and having to kind of mentor so many young players?
Patience, for sure. Just because we do have so many rookies, we have 7 of them to our 5 vets. So this year was definitely a learning year for everybody, wanting to make sure that they got the best experience possible, while also us becoming better as a team. So it was just patience was one of the biggest things, just because, everybody didn't know everything and everybody came in together, and I came in late. So it was also me finding a balance within the team and me finding my role. So, yeah.
Tony?
Emma, to that point, what are your thoughts about what you'll maybe tell some of the rookies about attacking their first off season?
I think the main thing that I've told them and will remind them of is taking care of their bodies. 8 months is a long time without being in the W, and even if they're not going overseas, or if they are going overseas, taking care of your body is like the biggest thing, especially when you're overseas playing 40 minutes a day in and day out. So eating right, stretching, and doing the things also on court that'll get them prepared for their next season.
Carlos took over mid-season coaching this team. What did you think of the way he coached you guys and grew as a coach throughout the season?
I believe Carlos did a great job. I mean, it's not easy for somebody to come in and take lead on something that's already established. He came in, we were 2-11, I believe. I wasn't here yet, so it's difficult on his end, but I felt like he did the best that he could in any situation. And on top of that, again, we had 7 rookies, and a lot of them, played heavy minutes, so it was a learning experience for everybody. So I think he did as best as anybody could.
All right, guys, we'll finish up with Tiff. Game high 18 tonight. Whoever wants to start. Zion, go ahead.
Yeah, Tiff, I asked you the same thing I just asked Emma. Just what has been your main takeaway from being around so many young players, so many rookies this year?
That experience is vital in this league, and they had to grow up quick. So of course we're going to have some struggles along the way. So although our record was not great at all, I think they learned a lot, and hopefully, next year it'll just spill over into the knowledge that they learned this year and have a better season next year.
You've been with the Fever your whole 7-year career. This will be your first time as an unrestricted free agent. Just how are you going to approach this offseason?
I'm happy. Like I said, this is my first time being an unrestricted free agent, so I never really got to go through this process. I just, look forward to seeing what's the best situation for me moving forward, and I'm embracing the process fully.
18 points and 7 assists. How did it feel? How does it feel when you...
Tied career high. Forgot to mention.
Dang.
Tied career high. My apologies.
Oh my God.
How does it feel when you end the season off with a good game like that?
It feels good. All the hard work that I've put in and the ups and downs of this season that I went through personally, it feels good that I can, walk away knowing that I left my best foot forward. And people only remember your last game, so I'm glad that, going into the free agency, I did play well.
Wilson?
Tiff, I know the season just ended, but how do you think you'll look back on this season? What will you remember from this year?
This probably had to be one of my toughest seasons from start to finish. Like I said, just being put in different positions that I haven't been in my whole career, embracing different roles, roles constantly changing from game to game. It was pretty difficult, and I guess it's just a tribute to the person that I am. I stayed true to who I am, and my work ethic is going to get me very far, and I was just able to adapt in different situations. So I'm just going to take that away from this season, and knowing that I feel like I can handle anything that's thrown at me.
Tony?
Tiffany, you've been here longer than any other player on the roster. What stood out to you compared to some of your prior seasons with this franchise about this year?
The youth. We had 7 rookies, so this is the first time ever I've played with this many first-year players. So it was definitely an adjustment. I'm thankful that they were able to listen throughout the season, but like I said, we're going to have our ups and downs. Knowing that we count on first-year players for a lot, to contribute a lot, and to be ready game in and game out. So I just tried to help them as best as I could on and off the court, and be that vet and be that leadership and the voice for them. But like I said, experience is very vital. So you don't know until you're out there.
How do you feel about the future of this franchise and the roster compared to some of the last years you guys went through since basically Tamika retired?
What do you mean, as far as what?
As far as the direction it's headed in terms of vets, young players, etc.
Honestly, I don't know what the future holds for this team or organization. So I'm just happy to finish the season healthy, and whatever happens next year is what happens.
What did you think of the job Carlos Knox did in his first season coaching you guys?
I think that he came into a very tough position, in a tough spot to try to, help us turn this around and win some games. But like I said, it's just very hard on the position that he had. I think that he had great moments. Like I said, we had our ups and downs with teams and coaches, but I feel like he did a really good job as far as just trying to keep us motivated, keep us playing hard.
Chris?
Yeah, I got one. Well, you talk about being the vet, for the younger players, and I'm sure you had, a vet when you were a rookie who kind of showed you some ropes. So, like, what was one thing or a couple things that you made sure that everybody knew, not like how to be a pro, I guess?
I feel like I'm more of a, lead by example person. So when it comes to being a professional, I feel like I embody that as far as, being in the gym early, last one to leave, taking care of your body, how you eat, how you sleep. I try to make sure they know, like, you can't wake up and eat donuts for breakfast,
Yeah.
Something that you can do when you're in college and younger, and you don't really know until you get older how much it could really affect you. I try to just stay in their ear because, like I said, they don't really know until you're thrown out there and you're tired in games, stuff like that. So just trying to be a pro, how to approach the game as a pro, just try to help them with that.